He warns, though, that civilians should be held accountable for this. This is what we call collective punishment. He says, you may dispute that all of the above does not justify aggression against civilians for crimes they did not commit and offenses which they did not partake. This argument contradicts your continuous repetition that America is the land of freedom and its leaders in this world. Therefore, the American people are the ones who choose their government by way of their own free will, a choice which stems from their government to its policies. Thus, the American people have chosen, consented to, and affirmed their support for the Israeli oppression of the Palestinians, the occupation and usurpation of their land, and its continuous killing, torture, punishment, and expulsion of the Palestinians. The American people have the ability and choice to refuse the policies of their government and change it if they want. Now, this evil, what he's talking about here, evil is collective punishment. It's called collective punishment. That means you punish people for innocent civilians for what their governments do because they chose them, right?
Right.
So we in the West can't have a double standard about collective punishment where we say that anyone who is Palestinian is fair game to be punished because their government, Hamas, did this, right? And also, though, we shouldn't be fair game for what our government does. No, you can't have it both ways.
Right, so when you look at...
I thought that was a very good point. Like, because of what this Hamas government did, therefore it justifies the civilian casualties when you're trying to take out Hamas. Well, it's like America's supposedly a democracy where the people are the ones that elect their rulers. And, you know, that is a good point that is, especially back, you know, back in when he wrote that letter back in like 9/11 time frame. Because I kind of believed in that idea more of democracy in a sense, like that we actually voted in. Now I feel like the government doesn't listen to what we want at all. But you can see from that worldview, if the people are the ones that really elect the people in power, then are the people innocent in a democracy for the crimes of the government? Absolutely not. They're part and parcel. So that was a very good point by, that terrorist guy. But, and then this anchor here, she made a good point. It's like, so we justify killing, we justify the casualties of civilians to take out Hamas, but then we want to have a double standard and say it's not okay for our civilian casualties. But it's like, but we're actually more unjust because we supposedly have a democracy where it's the consent of the governed and we vote for our people in power, and then the people in power are doing the things, so we are guilty of what they're doing. And now I know that's not, I understand from his worldview. I in my worldview, I'm like, well, I have no voice. Like, I can say all day I don't want it. I can't stop it. Like, I can't stop this crap government, But you can see how you would think that way. And yeah, it does make sense. Like, the people that are governed, that are allowing their government to do the things they're doing, if they're truly free, then they are guilty of what their government does. That does make sense.